Brooke, coming here and playing this Open at this club, why don't you share a little bit of your history as far as 2008 and coming here? What does it mean to you to play here now as opposed to come and watch?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember coming here in 2008 and watching, the entire field. I watched a lot of Morgan Pressel, who, I really looked up to, and at the end of the round, during, I think, the fourth hole, she walked off the green and said, "Hey, Brooke." And I was like, what? She knew my name, and I was, so excited because I had met her, I guess, a month before that, just in passing, and to have her remember my name and that impact that it had on me was truly amazing. And then, after the round, she handed me her glove and a signed golf ball. And, so hopefully what I learned that day is, you have so much impact on the younger generation and people of all ages. And so for me this year, I really want to give a lot of time to, the media, the fans, and especially the young kids, and help them to inspire them to play the game or to play the game that they love, and, kind of give them that extra attention.
Hey, Adam Stanley with the Canadian Press. Brooke, obviously there's a lot of people sitting up there who would be very excited if you won this golf tournament, and you as well would be very excited to win this golf tournament. Do you feel any extra pressure coming into this tournament in a few weeks?
This tournament's like my fifth major on the LPGA Tour, and probably this is the event that I would love to win the most over my career. And whether it happens this year or in the future, it's the number one event, I guess, on my bucket list. And I think it's just the perfect fit this year. So I'm going to go out there and enjoy it as much as I can. And like I said, spend that extra time with the media and the fans and really soak it all in. And it's hard to say because it will be a very difficult week for me, just like every other LPGA Tour player. But I'm really excited for the opportunity, and like I said, I really want to hold it, and I want to go grab it right now. But unfortunately, I can't do that. So hopefully in 2 months from now, I'll be able to hold it. But I think I'll have to fight off Lori too. So hopefully one of us will win it.
Hi, Brooke. Riley Evans from theocho.ca. Being from Smith Falls, this is an area that you also played a lot of junior golf in growing up. What's it like to come back and be able to compete as a professional, not only in your national championship, but in an area that you played a lot as a junior? Yeah,
I've played a few times now in Canada as professional, but never in the Ottawa area. So I think that is a huge step, and I feel the crowds are going to be amazing, and I'm really excited for that. I have fans and family coming up to me asking for tickets. I don't think I'm going to be able to supply that many. But, I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity. And, this area has been always so great to me, and I played very well as a junior and an amateur, so, hopefully I can continue that on as a professional. As much as I would love to win this event, I think I make the cut and I enjoy the weekend with the fans. I think that will be an successful event.
Brooke, last year around this time it was Lydia, you, Aria, 1, 2, 3. Of course, Aria is the defending champion, and she's had success in Canada, winning defending champion and recently in Cambridge. Just wanted to find out your thoughts on her success, and for yourself, you want to lift that trophy. How much does that motivate you?
Aria is an amazing player, very powerful player. She hits it a long way, and also has an exceptional short game, which isn't that common with such a powerful player. And as you mentioned, Lydia Ko, the former #1, is all around. She's so consistent, and not a power player, but just so consistent with the rest of her game. And I think the LPGA Tour right now is so strong. There's been 15 events and 15 different winners. So anybody can win out there. You just, need a couple breaks, and you need to continue to work hard and just be patient. And that's, kind of my motto the last few weeks, and will continue to be over the summer. But I'm very good friends with both of those players, and so it's nice to see them do well.
And just one more other question. You brought up the fact that you're part of the Golf Canada program since you're 14. Could you just talk a little bit about how that program sort of helped you get to the point where you're sort of a national hero at this point?
Golf Canada, I joined the national team when I was 14 years old, and that's also the first year that I won a professional event in Quebec, and I earned an exemption into the Women's Open. And I played my first LPGA Tour event as a 14-year-old. And that had a lot to do with my dad, who is my coach, and also joining forces with the Canadian national team, who is supported by CP. And they allow us so many great opportunities to compete, outside of Canada, in the U.S., and we even played the British Opens and World Amateur Championships in all over the world. So, that team really taught me a lot, not only just coaches, golf-wise, but, nutritionists, psychologists, strength and conditioning. I learned the whole aspects of the game of golf.
Just a question for Brent. Brooke, we'll give you a break. Brent, last year there was 96 out of the top 100 last year. Are you expecting more of the same this year, or is it a little bit too early to tell?
No, it is going to be much of the same. Like I mentioned earlier, we're blessed with the tour players. I think they love coming back to Canada for a number of reasons. Obviously, there's a great purse involved, but beyond that, the hospitality that's shown. The early confirmation list now is tracking just with pretty much every name that you can think of is on that list.
I could not grab the mic. And just relay that the week prior to this is the Solheim Cup. And I think that in itself will help generate a lot of interest moving into this tournament, because this is known as a major championship in everyone's mind, and that they'll be wanting to come here to play. Those players that have the week off that aren't in the Solheim Cup will be probably knocking down the doors here to have a look at the Hunt Club early. And I think that's only going to make for a really exciting event.
Gord Holder from Post Media Ottawa. Brent, you've talked about the field. I want to talk about Canadians. Do you know yet how many exemptions will be presented to Canadian players for this event?
Well, the number's still not finalized. We have 16 exemptions total. A lot of those go to specific events. So, for example, the Canadian Women's Amateur gets a champion, and also the Low Canadian in that. If it's the same person, it's one exemption, but if it's not, then the Low Canadian also gets it. We look after our national team, as Brooke mentioned, when she was an amateur player. There's a number that go to that. And then also some players on the Symetro Tour that are looking for help that are Canadians. I wouldn't say that we look first and foremost to the Canadians, but we do, pretty much. We want this to be strong. Those exemptions generally go to Canadian players. So the actual names have not been slotted in yet, which is probably going to happen over the next 10 days to 2 weeks.
A question for Brooke now. You mentioned the golf glove, and I think the hat that you got from Morgan Press, or a ball, sorry. Where are they now? Do you know where they are?
Yep, they're still at home, and I guess last year, around the CP Women's Open time, I showed her a picture of her and I together, and I put a huge smile on her face, and put one on mine too. So that impact that she had on me was definitely incredible. And I couldn't even really talk to her the first couple of years on tour. I was so nervous still because I looked up to her for so long. But now we've become friends, and just that feeling that I received when I was that 8-year-old little girl, I definitely want to give back to every little girl, every little boy, and every fan that I meet along the way.
Joe?
Sandra, you've got a big smile on your face up there. What does this all mean to you, young man?
I don't have a smile.
What do you think of all this, Sandra? Answer the question. What do you think of all this? Are you excited to be a part of the CP?
Yes.
Yes. And what do we need people to do for CHIO?
Raise money.
Correct. And how much do we want to raise?
A lot. 100.
I challenged them to 2 million, so,
$2 million.
Next question. Okay, well, just some housekeeping. As I mentioned, following following our skills competition on the range for those that are participating, and everyone is invited to either participate or join us and watch. I think it'll be a lot of fun. All of our panel will be available for some questions and one-on-one for those journalists joining us. Before we get to that, we're going to ask all of our panelists to maybe step forward. Xander will have you right behind the trophy. We'll do a little picture with everybody right in behind there.
Don't touch, don't stand.